Welcome everybody to Eagles News Now. Quick live stream. I know a lot of people probably going to catch us on the replay. Literally just getting ready to go into the gym, and the news is broken. Doug Pederson is out as Eagles head coach, and I released a video earlier this morning talking about how I thought it was a mistake to let go of a guy that won you Super Bowl 3 years ago, brought you to the playoffs. The past 2 years, obviously this year he did not. With the patchwork team that he had. What's going on, Random Bros? Look, man, this was, and I knew this guy. I knew he was gonna. This literally just came out. I knew that he was gonna be fired when an hour ago Jeff McLean came out with a report where the Eagles basically leaked Doug Pederson's plans for his coaching staff. Which look, I stuck up for Doug Pederson in that video earlier today. Stephen Joyce, what's going on? But Doug wanted Press Taylor as offensive coordinator. He wanted Corey Unlin as defensive coordinator. Corey Unlin was defensive coordinator for the Lions. Their defense was ranked 32nd in the league. He wanted Flip back as a special teams coordinator, which their special teams has been bad for a couple years. You can't have that. You can't have that as your coaching staff. And if that was what the breaking point was, then okay, I can understand him being gone. However, look, man, the fact that you can't talk this guy down into, or at least sitting down with a guy and putting together a coaching staff that everybody that can agree on, it's just insane to me. The biggest problem right here is that Howie Roseman still has a job. Howie Roseman is the absolute, if you guys are just tuning in, Doug Pederson fired. It was just announced. He had a meeting with Jeffrey Lurie in Florida. Guess it did not go well. He is now out as Eagles head coach. I guarantee you he's going to find a home somewhere. I wouldn't be surprised if it's by the end of the week he'll find a home with a team like the Texans, like the Chargers, like the Falcons that want a Super Bowl winning coach. And I know a lot of you don't like Doug. I get it. He had a bad year. He had bad decisions. But you got to understand, this is a guy that really didn't have any say on who was playing sometimes. Couldn't hire his own coaching staff. And again, the coaching staff that came out that he wanted to hire, if you haven't heard, was absolutely piss poor. Press Taylor as offensive coordinator, Corey Unlin as defensive coordinator, and Dave Fitt back as special teams. You can't have that. I get it. But where do the Eagles go from now? And they're behind the 8 ball as far as coaching staffs are concerned. I wanted Dan Quinn in as defensive coordinator. Apparently, he's going to be the Cowboys' new defensive coordinator. But big news, Doug Pederson out. The first coach to win the Eagles a Super Bowl is now out as head coach for the Philadelphia Eagles. Doug basically said he wanted to leave with that proposal. He made it to Lurie. Look, if I'm Doug Pederson, I probably don't want to stay here after what they did. They made him the fall guy. I'm sure that'll come out. They leaked his coaching staff. It's just really crazy. iDrip says, I'm happy he's gone. He never learned to stop going in-house instead of hiring people outside. Well, the thing is, Doug hasn't been able to hire anybody. This year, and this is what the breaking point was, he went to Jeffrey Lurie and said, this is who I want as my coaching staff. I want the coach who coaches the Bills QB. That is Brian Dable. Brian Dable is the quarterback's coach for the... you might be the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. I don't know, guys. I'm at a loss. I don't even know who... Look, the last thing I thought was going to happen... Doug was definitely the scapegoat. Doug is not... Maybe Doug's part of the issue, but Howie Roseman's the biggest part of this problem. And fans that are watching this, or Eagle fans, if you don't think Howie Roseman is part of this problem, I don't know what to tell you. And Doug was the fall guy. Look, man, he is the first coach to win the Eagles a Super Bowl. I had people tell me it was all Frank Reich. Well, look, I don't know if you watched the Indianapolis Colts game, but Frank Reich... got out-coached this week. He's 1-2 in the playoffs. And don't get me wrong, but when Nick Foles runs to the sideline to ask why not we try Philly, he didn't ask Frank Reich. He went to Doug Pederson, and Doug Pederson okayed that. But that's besides the point. Doug, look, Carson Wentz was horrible this year. We all talk about Doug's play calling. Carson was bad. If you don't have the players to execute your plays, you're gonna, 2017 was perfect. Besides the couple injuries that they had to deal with, huge ones, like quarterback and like left tackle. But yeah, Doug Pederson out. If everyone's just joining me, out as head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know what the hell they do from here, but this is a guy, I'm trying to tell you, man, players loved him, highly respected. And he has made, look, Trevor, he has made bad decisions, but let's go back and let's look at that 2018 season. You start with Nick Foles. Carson Wentz comes back. He breaks his back. You've got no secondary for your defense. Your defensive coordinator sucks. Your offense, does anybody remember the running back that the Eagles had going into the playoffs that year? They had Wendell Smallwood and Josh Adams. That's who you're working with. What coach is going to, and they still almost got to the playoff game. 2019. Yes, Carson was great the last 4 games, but somebody had to call those plays for Carson. And Doug dealt with a practice squad wide receiver, Deontay Burnett. There's Rob Davis. These are your guys going into a wild card playoff game, which he lost his quarterback and had a 40-year-old Josh McCown come in with a torn hamstring. This guy is not as bad as some Eagle fans are portraying, and I just can't. I'm getting hot. I just can't understand why. Like, do we not forget how bad it was before 2017? Do we not? I mean, it's just. I don't understand how Doug can get the entire blame. Look at Howie Roseman. Howie Roseman. Can you imagine if he drafts DK Metcalf? If they didn't even trade him, they just fired him. They just said, screw it. Or he just said, screw it, and rolled. If Howie Roseman gets DK Metcalf, if he gets Justin Jefferson, if he doesn't draft Donnell Pumphrey, and you give your head coach who won a Super Bowl actual weapons, if you don't have these horrible free agent acquisitions, Mike Wallace, does anyone remember that? Torrey Smith goes and they get Mike Wallace, who was hurt the first game? I mean, come on, guys. Come on. And the people that say John DeFilippo and Frank Reich, I like Frank Reich, and the Eagles might be able to get him back because the Colts fans, if you keep track of that, are not happy with Frank Reich right now. They are not happy with Frank Reich at all. As he says, he wants Phillip Rivers back as his quarterback. He's been out-coached. He's 1-2 in the playoffs. John DeFilippo just saw another playoff exit as he was with his third team since the Eagles. And Nick Foles, I love Nick Foles for everything he has done, but what has he done since he left Doug Pederson and the Philadelphia Eagles? Howie is absolutely terrible, Trevor. Absolutely. He destroyed a Super Bowl winning team. Look, that year, everything he did worked. Hurts is a rookie. I'm not gonna judge him. Kale, yeah, I wouldn't want Doug again. This I bet comes more into Doug not wanting to be here. But let's just go back like a week ago. They had a press conference. Doug Pederson and Howie Roseman had a press conference. Why? If you're gonna fire this guy, why have him sit there at that press conference? It's just like the year before where Doug Pederson said that Mike Groh was going to be back as his offensive coordinator, and the day after Jeffrey Lurie fires him. Jeffrey Lurie is sticking his hand into this. It's almost getting to Jerry Jones proportions at how much that he's meddling in this thing. I don't understand it. Look, and if you guys forget, Doug Pederson is from the Andy Reid tree. I'm not saying that he's Bill Belichick. I'm not saying that this guy is golden. I'm not saying that he should be afforded. Look, they went basically 4-12. I mean, it was a tie, but it's a loss. They basically went 4-12 this year. I understand, okay? That's absolutely horrible and unacceptable, especially for us, the people that pay for this stuff. So I get it. I absolutely get it. But what's your plan now? What's your plan after you fire a Super Bowl winning coach? Because right now, the new norm is taking a toll. That's funny. Frank probably as good as a head coach, like he's good. Right. Exactly. Frank Reich was a good offensive coordinator. That's the thing when people talk about Frank Reich. It blows my mind, okay? He did a great job as offensive coordinator for the head coach. I mean, it's just crazy to me. I think I find it crazy because I lived through, and again, I'm not a super old guy, but as a kid, I can remember the jokes throughout high school, throughout middle school, about I would proudly wear my Eagles shit after loss after loss after loss after championship loss, and they finally win this Super Bowl in 17. And again, I know we can't hang our hat on that forever. What's up, BD Plays? Pretty much everyone is fired except for Howie Roseman. How does this guy have a job? Does he have pictures of Jeffrey Lurie doing some shit? Because I don't understand it. I take Pederson over Mike Zimmer. I take Pederson over Mike McCarthy. I take over Joe. I take him over every coach in this division. And now we go backwards. Now we're going backwards. Now this is a rebuild. it's unbelievable that 3 years, guys. And if you're just joining me, Doug Pederson fired. He's out as coach of the Philadelphia Eagles after a meeting with Jeffrey Lurie. I don't understand this. I don't get it. I understand. And again, I think for people that aren't diehard Eagle fans, you don't, to discount the injuries, to discount 14 different offensive lineups, the most since 1983, to discount Carson Wentz being so bad. I mean, we could talk about play calls all we want to, but there were times when Carson Wentz just missed guys or made poor decisions. I mean, it all goes into something. But here we are, and a lot of I just don't, I mean, I had discussions with guys today on this channel about Doug Pederson, and it just blows my mind that people were so ready to get rid of a head coach that won a Super Bowl. I don't understand it. But again, and for those that are just joining me, it was leaked an hour ago of what Doug Pederson's proposed coaching staff was. I don't agree with his coaching staff. He wanted Corey Unlin as DC, who Corey Unlin is horrible, had a 32 ranked defense in the league this year. Dave fit back as special teams. Our special teams has sucked. And he wanted Press Taylor as offensive coordinator. And Press Taylor has not done anything except for put in a couple good trick plays. But so I don't agree with that. I don't understand how Jeffrey Lurie as an owner, and you know, you can't do it with Howie because obviously Howie and Doug aren't getting along. Sit down with this guy and go, how about this? How about this? How about we do this? I just don't understand it. I don't get it. This organization failed Doug Pederson. It's not the other way around, guys. It's not. He came into 2016 as everybody that, and correct me if I'm wrong, everybody from that coaching class of 2016 besides Doug Pederson got fired. They're done a long time ago. Doug Pederson, nothing but win the freaking Super Bowl, bring his team to the playoffs, and that injured goddamn team, excuse my language. I'm heated up. I'm fired up about this. I don't understand. So who do they bring in now? Who do they bring in now? Joe, I mean, I don't, who is going to make this better? And obviously, and thank you, Jay, for the $2 super chat. And yeah, maybe this is to keep Wentz. Maybe this is what it is. Because obviously Carson and Doug were not, and if you believe the media, Carson's a hard guy to coach, apparently. Even Frank Reich, the great Frank Reich, said that. Howie Roseman is a problem with his team. You just got rid of a coach, and I guarantee you he will not be on the market long. He's not. Doug Pederson is not going to be. Do you understand that? And I might be wrong on this, and people could check up on me for this. This is the shortest time from a guy winning the Super Bowl to getting fired. I think like Mike McCarthy got fired 8 years after winning the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. Doug could go. I mean, I don't know what's happening with Frank Reich. It's just, guys, I don't even know what else to say. Doug Pederson out as coach. I think it's a horrible move. Again, if Doug was straight up into not getting off of this proposed coaching staff that was leaked, which is also disrespectful, how do you leak this out to the media to make it seem better? I mean, this guy won you a Super Bowl. Thanks for the other $2 super chat, Jay. How do you feel about dealing for Watson? I would love it. I would love to have a guy like Deshaun Watson here, but who's going to coach him? And the thing about Deshaun Watson, I was going to do a video about this. Deshaun Watson actually wanted Doug Pederson in Houston. He actually wanted him in Houston. He might just stay there now. I mean, we could afford Watson, but he's coming. We couldn't afford anybody else. And what is he coming to? He's coming to Houston, the NFC version of Houston right now. Because what do we have? We've got a bunch of receivers that were drafted that aren't good. We're going to watch a national championship game today from Alabama. Do you understand, as much of a powerhouse as Alabama has been in college, Howie Roseman has never drafted a single player from Alabama? Doug's going to be a head coach somewhere. He's not going back to the Chiefs. He's not going to go back to be an OC. He's a Super Bowl winning coach. Look at his resume. All he's got to show him is, hey, I didn't have a single offensive line for the entire year. The year before, I had practice squad wide receivers that we took to the playoffs. I won a Super Bowl against Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. Yes, he and Doug Pederson absolutely sucked this year. Absolutely sucked. But I cannot. It's like somebody working at McDonald's and is asked to make a Big Mac, but you don't give them the meat. You give them everything else, the lettuce, the tomatoes, the buns, but you don't give them the meat. So what's going to happen? And then you fire them for not making it right. Nick Saban's not leaving Alabama. I mean, I don't, and again, last time he was in the league, the Dolphins were no good, right? Am I wrong on that one? I mean, I just, guys, I'm like, I got 63 of you guys watching. I appreciate everybody watching. I appreciate the super chats. I'm at a loss for this. Who made the call to bench Hurts? Whoever needed that to be fired. There's no way that came from Doug. Doug had very little say. Lincoln Riley I doubt he's going to come here. The head coach from Oklahoma. Look, Doug had very little say in any decisions, and that's probably one of the things that pissed him off. I mean, you guys think about this, and if people that just joining, Doug Pederson out as Eagles head coach, 2017 Super Bowl winning coach, should have been coach of the year that year. They gave it to Sean McVay for whatever reason, if you remember. So can my Bears have Hurts? Is he for sale? Who knows? Who knows? The Bears might get Doug Pederson. He might be your new head coach, because I don't think Matt Nagy is going to survive over there. I mean, it's mind-blowing to me. Please, Howie wants a Muppet. Exactly. Howie and Lori want somebody they can control. Doug said, no, you can't control me. And granted, Doug gave them a list of coaches that I wouldn't hire to run the local bar here in Delaware. But the fact that you can't sit down and talk with this guy, and if this is about Carson Wentz and you figure we're just going to keep Carson because it's cheaper to keep her, and let's get rid of Doug, then that's stupid too. And again, 3-card Monty, he's going to be a head coach somewhere. He's not going to Kansas City. He's going to be, there's all these coaching vacancies. He's going to go there. He might go to a team like the Chargers and groom Herbert. He might go to the Falcons and groom whoever they draft as quarterback. The guy, I mean, I don't understand. And again, a 4-12 season, horrible. I get that much. Boy, my dad, I'm ready for him to ruin this live feed and call me, because he's probably the happiest man on earth, because he doesn't like Doug Pederson either. I just think he could go to the Jags. I mean, he could go, who wouldn't? Okay, let's just put ourselves in a different position. And let's pretend like, we're another team, and the Jags just fired a Super Bowl winning head coach from 3 years ago. Trevor, it hasn't been this year. A 3-year decline, but look at the circumstance. Again, look at the circumstance. Yes, I agree. Super Bowl to divisional round to wild card round to no playoffs. Decline. But the general manager has pigeonholed this team. When you don't draft young players, when you don't sign the right guys, when you have horrible contracts, and injuries galore, and then you expect your head coach to make chicken salad out of chicken shit every year, what do you get? What do you expect? Of course it's going to regress and decline. When DK Metcalf goes to the Seahawks and we get J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, when Jalen Reagor gets drafted over Justin Jefferson just one pick away, what do you expect? I still think Pederson's better than McVay. I still think he's better than McVay. People are probably thinking I'm crazy right now. But has Sean McVay ever had to deal with all this stuff that Doug Pederson does? Has he? Doug, you don't know the difference between Josh Adams and Miles Sanders. Exactly. Miles Sanders against the Cowboys had 7 touches. But again, he lost his feel this year for the game. Because, I mean, do you run Miles Sanders with this horrible offensive line and maybe get him hurt? I don't know. And to me, for the guy saying Doug is awful, just explain to me how an awful coach wins a Super Bowl with a backup quarterback. I don't get it. I don't understand it. How does an awful head coach take a team to the playoffs with practice squad wide receivers? How does he almost make it to the championship game if his number 1 wide receiver doesn't let a ball go right through his hands and get intercepted? I mean, what is that? How does that happen? Your general manager picked the quarterback in the 2nd round this year. How did Frank Reich win that Super Bowl? How? He wasn't calling the plays. What if I told you Frank Reich didn't call any plays in the Super Bowl? Because he didn't. Look, Doug Pederson and Nick Foles have a statue in Lincoln Financial Field, not Frank Reich and Nick Foles. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you guys. I mean, apparently nobody watched the Colts game this week because Frank Reich coached a horrible game. Okay? I'm telling you, man, Colts fans don't even want this guy back. There are Colts fans that are upset right now with this Frank Reich, but everybody thinks he won a Super Bowl. He was a great offensive coordinator. He did his job. But to say, I mean, I don't remember Nick Foles running off the field and going to Doug or to Frank Reich, "You want Philly, Philly?" And then Frank Reich going, "Yeah, let's do it." No, it was Doug. So everyone, I see I got some different viewers. Doug Pederson out as head coach. I'm hot about it. And again, just I think it was done really shitty. Statue coach fired after one bad year. Yeah, it's what is going on, and I will agree with people. It's not just one bad year. It has been regression. It has been regression. It has been tough. But the circumstances behind it is just insane to me. The what this coach had to deal with. I don't live in Philly. I actually live in Delaware. My father used to live in Philly, which is how I'm an Eagles fan. But the fact that this guy had the players that he, again, and all I have to say is, would the Eagles be this bad this year if DK Metcalf and Justin Jefferson were lined up as wide receivers? Would they be bad this year if Carson Wentz didn't get effing destroyed 50 times he was sacked? I know a lot of it was his fault. Would it be, if Carson wasn't as bad as he was this year, the Eagles would have won more games than they did. I mean, if just Howie Roseman could draft or not sign Alshon Jeffrey to a bad contract that we can't get out of, or not trade for Deshaun Jackson, who, I love Deshaun as a player. I love him for what he did 10 years ago. And Doug sucks at managing coaches because he's not allowed to. He's not allowed to. Doug, he lied to us about the game. You know why he did that? He is a puppet. He was a puppet for them. He was their scapegoat. If you think Doug Pederson made that decision, you have absolutely lost your mind. Doug Pederson got on national TV, said he was trying to win the game, stuck up for Nate Sudfeld because he was told to. Then they have a press conference the next day where he sat there like an idiot, and they let Howie Roseman say a bunch of bullshit, and now they leak Doug's planned coaches, which are horrible, and instead of trying to fix that, they leak it, and then they fire him today. I mean, it's what do you do? Where's he going to go? Because I guarantee you, if he goes to a team like the Texans, if he goes to a team like the Falcons or the Chargers, he's going to have success because they don't run their organizations like this. This is insane to me. How does Howie Roseman still have a job? Doug Pederson fired as head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. If you're just joining, I'm having a conniption. I didn't expect to, but it just doesn't make sense to me. Or go to the Jets because Joe Douglas. If he goes to the Jets, he might be screwed there. I'll be honest with you. But Howie Roseman, they're not going to fire Howie. Howie has pictures of Jeffrey Lurie. Jeffrey Lurie is getting on Jerry Jones' level of annoyance to me. It just doesn't make sense. It's just to have this Super Bowl winning coach. We have suffered, guys. We have suffered. If you're not an Eagles fan, Eagles fans have suffered for years with not having a Super Bowl and everyone else in the division having multiple. And then we get one. We finally get a Super Bowl, and everyone's ready to kill this coach because nobody liked him to begin with. I remember when he came in 2016, I was one of the only guys that was like, look, he's basically been a coach his whole career because he was a backup quarterback. And Joe, I am crying my ass off right now. You just can't see the tears because I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't understand. I mean, this is a dude that was, like I said, back up to Brett Favre, back up to Dan Marino. He watched a lot of great guys do it under the Andy Reid coaching tree. And if you follow the Eagles the past couple years, we have had a horribly built team. But Doug has not built the team. I don't get it, guys. I don't get it. I don't get it. He had J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. He had Jalen Reagor. Jamon Brown they hired as an offensive look, left tackle Andre Dillard's a bust. When your 7th round pick that plays rugby comes in and is a beast at left tackle, what do you think is the problem here? I don't think Doug did not have to go. They needed, okay, I'll agree with you on this. If Doug was like, look, rather this coaching staff is with me or I'm gone, then yeah, because I don't want Press Taylor as OC. I damn sure don't want Corey Unlin as a DC, and I think Dave Fitt needs to be gone too. But if they could have just brought in a good offensive coordinator for this guy, like Frank Reich was, if they could have brought in a good defensive coordinator, because we'll be honest with each other, Jim Schwartz was not great. He was not a good defensive coordinator, okay? I mean, Sidney Jones, before he got hurt in Jacksonville, was having a good year. I don't And Doug probably wanted to go too. That's the other thing. He probably wanted to go too because I would love Deuce as head coach, but they're not going to do that. Let's be honest. They're not going to do that because if that's the case, he would have been offensive coordinator last year. But Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie hired 18 different assistant coaches that don't get along and that don't mesh. That's where we are. That's where we are. If Pederson, I guarantee you, I bet you Pederson will have a job at the end of the week. Why wouldn't he? Again, you look at this. I mean, at the outside looking, what are the plans for the roster we should boycott next season? Carson is staying. That's for sure. Carson's staying because it was basically, that's another thing. It was basically Doug Pederson or Carson Wentz. And Carson staying. They did. Jeffrey Lurie wants to control everything. Doug wanted his own coaching staff. And again, if you saw the list of these coaches, they're horrible. They were bad. He should probably have to go for that. But I don't, guys, and what is this subject about? Doug Pederson gone. He's done. He's fired from the Philadelphia Eagles. So it wasn't like a trade to the Jets. It was just a meeting and he's out. As first, I don't think there's been a coach that won a Super Bowl that's been gone before him. I think he's a good coach. Because look at what he's coached. I mean, tell me, what other coach is gonna bring your team, a practice squad, to the to the playoffs, or what he had to deal with in 2018? I mean, apparently, I don't know. Coach trades don't happen very often. So whatever. You know what? Good for Doug, I guess, because he doesn't have to deal with this cap situation that we're in. He doesn't have to deal with Howie Roseman as the GM anymore. A guy with his resume and his connections with Andy Reid, he is going to be a head coach somewhere, and we're going to be watching as that team beats us in some kind of game. It's just going to happen. Doug was horrible this year. Don't get me wrong, man. Some of the decisions he made on fourth down or only running Miles Sanders for seven times against Dallas. I mean, he made some bad decisions, but you kind of lose a feel for the game when your entire team is gone and injured, right? I mean, think about the guys. If I name all the guys that they're missing this year, this thing is going to be hours long. It's going to be hours long. But when you don't have an offensive line, you have 15 different versions of your offensive line, and I would be okay with this if Howie was gone too. I would absolutely, if Howie Roseman was out, I'd feel better about this, but he's not. Howie Roseman is still here. Let's go Washington football team. Well, let me tell you what, you should call this team the Philadelphia football team because it sure don't feel like the Eagles. Been in 4 years, 1 win, 1 Super Bowl, 2 playoffs, 1 year, no playoffs, he's fired. It doesn't make sense. And again, this is not a guy with the same team every year either, or the same coaches. He had different offensive coordinators in 18. He got his guys got fired this year, and you had Rich Scangarello, who's a moron, and Marty Morningwig, that is the epitome of a loser, on his staff, as well as 100 other people, when you could have just had Deuce Staley be the offensive coordinator. Let's be honest. Injury-riddled teams. He had an injury-riddled team when he won the Super Bowl, and it just got worse. I had no idea that after 2019 that there could be worse injuries, and this year just proved it. I just don't think Nick Saban's going to leave Alabama. I don't think he's going to leave Alabama. And he's one of those guys I think is a better college coach than he is a pro coach. And look, when you guys are watching the National Football Championship tonight, just remember Howie Roseman has never drafted a guy out of Alabama. As much of a powerhouse as that team has been, Howie Roseman has never drafted a guy from Alabama. And here we sit with him still as GM. It just doesn't make sense to me. Thanks everybody for the super chats too, by the way. This is just like, I had a feeling when they leaked his coaching staff that I would take Dick Vermeil in a heartbeat, but I think he might be a little bit too old for us. He's got that wine company he's dealing with. Wine, as I am right now. I'm whining about this because this is my outlet, because I just don't get it. Look, maybe the backup plan's good. Maybe, but as with Howie Roseman, how are people, so the people that don't like Doug, you understand that Howie Roseman hired Doug, right? So now you're trusting Howie Roseman to hire another coach? I don't trust this guy with anything. I wouldn't trust him to watch my dog if I had to go somewhere and I need someone to house it. I don't trust Howie Roseman to do anything, and I don't trust Jeffrey Lurie anymore either. Doug Pederson got fired, or he was they're mutually decided to part ways, but he's not the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles anymore. Philadelphia Eagles fire their Super Bowl winning head coach just 3 years after he won the Super Bowl. People that don't like Doug will tell you that Super Bowl was all Frank Reich, even though he didn't call one play in that game. People that like Doug will tell you that he's had injury-riddled teams and no control. John Dorsey was there this year advising for the draft, and they still picked Jalen Hurts because Howie has ultimate power. The scouts told the Eagles hired scouts, and they told Howie, they told the coaching staff, you need to draft Justin Jefferson. What happened? They took Jalen Reagor. Come on, man. Howie should be gone, but the Eagles are way behind the 8 ball. Teams are already interviewing guys. They're already, and what is this? Is this a destination if you're a coach you really want to go to when you got a GM that is a moron and an owner that's controlling? I don't know. The Great Tate, thanks for the $5 super chat, brother. I don't trust Howie with 9 pennies. I don't either. There's no way he'd be able to make that 9 pennies into a dime. He won't be able to find another penny because he can't draft. He can't find anything. This guy is bad. He is. Again, look, guys. I don't want to make it seem like I'm on. What bothers me the most is that this GM who destroyed the foundation of this team is still here, but the coach that had to deal with it is gone. And again, if you're just tuning in, Doug Pederson had his list of staff that he wanted sucked, and it got leaked. Eric Bieniemy, that might be a deal. He might come here. He wanted Dave Flipback as special teams. He wanted Corey Unlin, who's the worst defensive coordinator in the league, as DC, and he wanted Press Taylor as offensive coordinator. That can't happen. Howie should be a bookkeeper for. They need to do something. Look, do what the Broncos did with John Elway, and just give him some phantom promotion and hire another GM. Howie got us hurt. Y'all trick Wentz was garbage, but we didn't. So Wentz was garbage this year, but we didn't know that going in. Like, he took the team to the playoffs last year. I just believe there were other guys there that could have helped out this team more than Jalen Hurts. I mean, Jeremy Chin, they could have had him. This guy was up for Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year. I mean, I don't know. And who knows that Hurts will even be here. They might move him. They might move Jalen Hurts. Joe Douglas. Yeah. All right, guys. So, look, I've ranted and raved and whined and cried for long enough. I'm probably going to do another live at some point tonight or maybe tomorrow. But yeah, Doug Pederson out as head coach. Thanks for all the super chats. Thanks for listening, watching me whine. Sal Powell for head coach. Yeah, I don't know about that one. Look, they don't make it boring for us. We're definitely gonna have a lot to talk about. So now we need a head coach and a defensive coordinator, and I would hope a GM. But thanks for watching. As always, guys, stay safe out there. Go Birds.